Parabrahma, Param Jyoti, Param Vishnu, Param Shakti, Parameshwara, Sri 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 Himagiri Vasa Ishwaraya Namaha. Om Parabrahma, Param Jyoti, Param Vishnu, Param Shakti, Parameshwara, Sri 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 Himagiri Vasa Ishwaraya Namaha. Om Parabrahma, Param Jyoti, Param Vishnu, Param Shakti, Parameshwara, Sri 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 Himagiri Vasa Ishwaraya Namaha. Ishwaraya Namaha. Ishwaraya Namaha. Shuklam Bardaram Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashante Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurme Devo Sarvakaryesu Sarvada Shoka Vinasha Karanam Namami Vigneshwaram Pada Pankajam Namami Vigneshwaram Pada Pankajam. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sabhaka Namaskaram. Today we are going to continue our second session. In this session, last time in conclusion I told you that we will be discussing about Yoga Sutra. The Yoga Sutra given to us by the greatest of the Maharishis, born in Bharata Khandam, Patanjali, who gave us such a beautiful concept called Yoga Sutra. Yoga is not a new path to follow, but a way to become conscious of the original inputs of life. Yoga is the movement and evolution of life itself. All psychological problems arises ultimately from a misapplication of the energy that our conscious provides to us. Our conscious generates such an amount of energy that can be used for different metaphors. One of the metaphors that you can use it, that it goes out of your control and grapples around the senses around you. The different attachments you built up, different feelings you built up for objectives, for human beings, for achievements, various things. We attach ourselves to transient external objects whose fluctuation brings lots of pain to us. Here comes the practice of yoga as an inner integration. It reverses all psychological problems by merging the mind back into its immutable source of pure consciousness, in which resides a perfect peace, manashanti. Thus, yoga is an integral part of treating psychological disorders. The Yoga Sutra defines yoga as the calming of the operations of the consciousness. Calming means eliminating all the negativity, negative conditions lodged in the mind and in our heart. To achieve complete calmness, we require control of our different functions of conscious through intelligence, mind, and ego, along with detachment at one side from all the vital forces and also our physical body. This is deeper and more profound than the common idea of yoga. Because the common idea of yoga, we all think that it is more connected to the physical exercise. It is not. It is connected to your total well-being and your lifestyle. The 6 basic rules that begin along with the yoga. The first one is chitta, that is consciousness. Chitta is derived from the Patanjali Yoga Sutra because this is the Sanskrit words which he has used, and consciousness is English word. Chitta means consciousness must be calm and emptied. Our deeper consciousness holds the various emotional traumas and pains that disturbs in our life. Each one of us are going through this process because our conscious goes out of our control and we allow it to go through the all external objects, and it ultimately disturbs us to such an extent that we built up a hidden resource of all the repressed things. This disturbance must be eradicated or calmed down or permanently released. Peace must be brought to the core of our mind. This requires our mind to be emptied of its contents. You all look at your life, you will find your mind is full of various things. All these contents, which is connected to basically the mundane life, disturbs you because it is seated deep into your conscious. It creates its own deep-seated habits. It creates your tendencies. It creates all kind of attachments. It surrenders to fear. It aggravates anger. It creates hell out of desires. Please note, the mind is naturally calm and pure. It originally has got no disturbance. All we need to allow is our mind to stay in its natural state. How does it stay in the natural state? Only by emptying our consciousness, our chitta, from all the external attachments and external disturbance and external chasing off through our senses. The second one is buddhi. Buddhi is our intelligence. Buddhi must be reoriented and sharpened. We must learn to discriminate the external, the eternal, and the transient, the real from the unreal, and discover our true self. The mass of the ego that appears now and then requires perceiving of 3 gunas. But remember, in 3 gunas, they are sattva guna, rajas guna and tamas guna. You must be in a position always, by following this Yoga Sutra, that controlling your intelligence, you should only hold on to sattva guna, not to rajas and tamas guna. Because rajas guna brings authoritativeness on others. It gives you more ego. And tamas guna builds up all kind of laziness, attachment to all sense organs, and gives you lots of trouble. Only sattva guna is the one that ultimately should be held by you so that you lead a peaceful and calm life. The third one is manasa. Manasa is your mind. Because English ultimately has got different connotations, so we use both Sanskrit and English metaphors. Our manasa, what we think in our heart. Senses must be controlled and internalized. When you internalize anything, that stays in your control. As long as the mind brings all external impressions and informations into your consciousness, our conscious get disturbed. Our conscious cannot be emptied automatically. We must control our mind and also our all sense organs, panchendriyas, we have to control. This requires cultivation of control, character, and your own individual willpower. This is not same when it comes to every individual. Somebody may be having willpower but lack character. Somebody may be having character and willpower but lacks the cultivation of practicing, controlling and keeping himself away from all this attraction towards the external things. You need to control your attachment to external things, keep your constantly and cultivate a habit of self-control, keep your character in order, because you all know if money is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But if your character is lost, everything is lost. You have to understand these logics of life. If our ancestors, our Rishi Munis have told you, there is some sense in it. And ultimately, your willpower, Atma Vishwasam, your willpower is nothing but when the conscious is pure, your willpower will give you extraordinary support. And the fourth one is the most dangerous one. That is ahamkara. What we all call ego. Ego must be dissolved. The root of all expansion of consciousness lies in dissolving the ego. I am great. I know everything. No one knows better than me. Whatever I do is correct. My decisions are correct. All are fools. This attitude is nothing but egoistic. The fact is otherwise. Everything is important. Everyone is important. Every opinion is important. When you are able to understand the simple logics of life, then you will slowly control your ego. When your sense gets separated because of ego, that means your common sense and presence of mind both do not cooperate with you. You tend to get isolated from the things around you and the people around you. And the separate self creates an internal emptiness that we seek to fill with external involvement. It cannot happen. Externally, you cannot bring anything to control your inner emptiness. Your inner emptiness can only be controlled by giving up the ego. It causes wrong judgments through which we create pain and suffering. That is the nature of ego. As long as we are caught up in the ego, we will not be able to control our mind and our consciousness will remain in turmoil. This requires self-abnegation, surrender to God, and the awakening of our inner self and soul self. See, you must understand, the Rishi Munis, today we are taking their name, whether we take the name of Aryabhatta or we take of Patanjali or we take of Vasistha or we take of Brihaspati or any such great soul. These Rishis, these great scholars, you may not believe that how many thousands of years have passed, but yet their teaching remains intact and suitable for every situation in which we all human go through. That itself shows that their knowledge level was far superior and they were connected to the divine grace of the God. That is why it is said, surrender to God. And the awakening of your inner self will help you to make your soul a very sensible one, which is the sensible one, but because of the cover you create, it shrinks inside and allows you to do whatever you like from your body, mind, conscious. The fifth one is prana. We also call prana shakti, prana vital force. This vital force needs to be balanced and strengthened. Our prana must be free from its fixation on external objectives, which fragments and disperses all the strength and makes it weak. This requires connecting with the wholesome inner and outer sources of vitality through mind, sense, breath and body. As we proceed by our satsangs, as week by week, we will be giving you more details about things. Without the proper vitality and a prana shakti, we cannot control ourselves, neither we can do anything. And certainly cannot control the mind and sense. Here I can give you one example. The greatest scholar of the recent era, maybe in last 1500 years if you take, one is the Adi Shankaracharya. When you look at him, he lived only 30 years of human life. And 30 years life, if you consider that he was also a child, has a childhood like us, so 10 years or 8 years has gone. That is left over is 22 years. In those 22 years, he not only discovered his inner self and the inner conscious, and he proved to the world that he is a super scholar. How did he establish those 4 Pitams of Shankaracharya Pitha in different parts of the country? Even those days, 1500, 1200, 13 years, 100 back, can you imagine that there was a source of travel? So there was something else which happened to this 30 years of young person who ultimately emerged out. We calculate his birthday is about 1200 years back he came to this world. He is still alive with us. Why? That Amaratva could come to such a scholar only possible because his conscience was pure and extraordinary, which always functioned under the divine grace and talked about divinity and the strength of the universe, and that he delivered to you from his different slokas and different books. Take Swami Vivekananda. He lived 39 years. And now recently we celebrated on January 23rd his 163rd birthday. Now 39 years, if you remove from 163, approximately another 130 years. 130 years, we are still talking about Swami Vivekananda, and maybe he's talking much more than we would have spoken 50, 60, 70 years back. He hardly spoke 4 minutes in Chicago in the World Religious Conference. And see the impact that 4 to 5 minutes has created on the world over. Because his conscience was pure, his prana shakti was totally full and totally involved in doing the extraordinary work. That prana shakti has given him so much power that 4 minutes is lasting even for 160 years. And it will go on and go on. Take the conscience of Aryabhat. Take the conscience of Kannad. There are great saints and scholars who came to this world. They delivered certain great sermons to us, and we are even today finding no alternative to them. They were scientists, they were intellectuals, they were sharper than us, they knew everything, they were simple, they were never greedy, they were desireless, and that kind of personality they built up in them. And that prana shakti, you and me also having equally. What we are not using this prana shakti, for modern days, we are not sleeping up to night 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1:30. We are unnecessarily wasting our time in browsing unnecessary things. There are many things we are wasting in this electronic world. I don't say the modern world is wrong. It has got both. 50% it is giving good benefit and 50% very bad effect it has got. Because we go externally, send our mind externally and try to entertain our mind. This habit of entertaining our mind keeps us engaged into external objectives, like watching a TV, watching a serial, watching a different YouTube programs. All these things we spent and repeatedly we keep on seeing the same thing. But whose prana shakti even today in this modern days is strong and intact, those people are very hale and healthy. You may not know that if you can keep your vital forces totally, keep away from all kind of external dirt, then you will be the strongest person. You can enjoy your life to the fullest extent, and perhaps you may live 100 years minimum in your life. Then coming to Stula Sharira. This is the sixth vital point in the Yoga Sutra. What is your Stula Sharira? This Stula Sharira, that is your body, must be kept clean, must be always kept in a purified condition. What is purified condition? That means you have to keep all the toxins and excess of biological humors and vata, pitta and kapha out of yourself. We all suffer with all these things. A toxic body is a weak body. We eat at night 11 o'clock. We get up from the bed at 8 o'clock. We sleep in the late night. Some people even eat food at night 1:30, 2 o'clock. I do not think they are doing any job at that time. But people eat. They say, I suffer with gas, I suffer with this, I have got gas. So they run around the doctor. But where are the doctors sitting inside you is clearly warning you, please don't disturb me at these hours. The Stula Sharira is the vital force along with the other organs in that body that supports you. And they are the balancing factor for Vata, Pitta and Kapha. If you weaken your vital forces, you don't keep your body clean, you don't keep your eating habit, sleeping habit intact, the body, believe me, is a respiratory of our actions and holds their long-term effects on us. It is not possible to ignore your body. Your body's role is equally very, very strong. Your body's role, you may not believe it, it is very, very important. So when I come to this first stage of Yoga Sutra, we have discussed very simple way what are those things. We talked about Chitta, we talked about different aspects of our human body, and then we have to go about conscious purity, keeping the body pure, keeping our intellectual thinking pure, keep our ego aside, control, because these things are only possible when we are able to control our bad habits. Then coming to the second stage of Yoga Sutra. This second stage of Yoga Sutra is much more elaborate. The same subject which I started now can be taken into a very lengthy way. This word is yoga, understood in different metaphors. But the most important thing we should understand is, for some people it is purely only a physical exercise to get them stronger, healthier and more flexible. But actually it is a process of taking you from nothing to everything. It's a travel to the Sanidhyam of the divine force. The strength that many of the world's great people had within them, who are popular even today after they have left the human body for long time back. You take Socrates, take Confucius, you take many great souls who are born in India also. Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Ramana Maharishi. We go there. Today we spend some time in the ashram and pray them and come back. Instead of following what they have told you, because they have continued the same path shown by Patanjali Yoga Sutra. In this path, Ashtanga Yoga is the most benefiting path and the perfect path. I'll be dealing on this at very length because we have got a long way to go of this satsang. I'll give you a nutshell what it is. I'll just give you the major points of this and then elaborate in my next Sunday when we again come in satsang. The 8 portions of different parts of Ashtanga Yoga is Yama. You can note down Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Each one of them has a big role to play. And we used to physically make people do these things during our Sampurna Saubhagya Kriya and make them understand. That is why 84,000 people who participated in the Sampurna Saubhagya Kriya are today leading a fantastic life. They are not dependent on various other things, they are simply depending on their conscious mind, which is pure. By practice, they learn to keep it pure. My sincere request to all of you is, I am conducting this satsang and all the scripts which I am now speaking will also be sent to you. In 3-4 weeks time, we will start forwarding it to you. Well, those who show interest, I will forward it to you. And those who wanted to wait for some more time and learn, and after that then we will give you in a book format. My only idea is, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Let us all keep our families happy and intact and quiet, peaceful. Let our children grow, achieve good things. Let our country grow. Let all of us be peaceful. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschida Dukha Bhaga Bhave. Purnamadam, Purnamidam, Purnata Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.